and when there's no audience and they're just them, they're playing because they want to play and they enjoy the music, and their kids are dancing and their kids are learning to play, growing up from a young age. And it's the same thing in the Appalachian Mountains, which is interesting because a lot of the city people in the United States have no idea about Appalachian culture in the United States, which is quite funny. If you ask a lot of people throughout the United States, especially from urban areas, but any place that's not in that little middle Appalachian zone, if there is Raksi, if there's moonshine, and they'll say, no, there used to be, maybe 100 years ago, doesn't exist now.
I think
however,
people around the world have this misconception that Americans, even us, like our generation, they don't have culture per se. But like the sarangi, we have our own community-based musical instruments, like the sarangi. The Tamangs have the tungna, the dampu.
Absolutely,
and we have the madal. So can you tell me
our
what
traditional
are
instruments?
instruments?
So yes, we have the mandolin. And each of these, because the United States is such an immigrant place, a lot of them were brought over. So mandolins were brought over, I think, by the Italians initially, because the Italians were very well known for making them. I think the guitar came from the Spanish coming over. The banjo came from Africa and was modified in the United States. This was also, the Italian mandolins had a big round back on them. But then the Americans, Orville Gibson actually figured out you could make it just concave like a violin or fiddle. So you have the basic, also upright bass is very common. So you have bass, guitar, mandolin, banjo, fiddle, which is violin. But yeah, so that, and people will just play on their porch the exact same way that like a Gandharva community would just play on their porch. They finished doing the farming, they play music for fun. And now, of course, with the evolution of post-industrialization, people are specializing.
Prince, what about the sarangi?
Sarangi is actually mostly played by the people here, called Gandharva. So Gandharva mostly came from the west actually, western part of Nepal mostly, and now they're all over Nepal actually. And I think Tara is actually has done a lot more work on Gandharva as well. So she's been like taking some documentaries from back then, you know. And yeah, I think the Gandharva people, so the king, like every ethnic group had their own jobs to do. So Gandharva people were given the musical thing where they used sarangi and their vocal. So back in the days when there was no means of communications like televisions and radios, so Gandharva people, they used to go around the village, you know, give the message to the people. So basically by storytelling or singing the song, you know.
Bringing the news.
Bringing the news, actually, and going from village to village. Talking about me, I'm the fourth generation in my family to play this instrument. So everybody in my family is like, we come from a Gandharva family, and everybody in my family played like sarangi or madal or somebody singing, you know. That's amazing part of it actually.
So Prince, how did you start playing the sarangi?
Sarangi, was always at home, basically. So, so I used to see like my father, and he's been playing music all his life.
Grandfather as well.
So yes. So yeah, Mangar Kansa Nepali is my great grandfather, and Ramsaran Nepali is actually a very big singer. I mean, he traveled a lot.
Ramsaran Nepali is a pioneer sarangi player of Nepal.
Yeah, he was a singer and a sarangi player. He traveled along with sarangi in many parts of the world. So yeah, and he kind of like introduced like the metal string for sarangi, and sarangi itself as a lead instrument, you know. So back in the days, the instrument used to be only like accompanying the vocal, you know. They used to play, but just the melodies that they used to sing, you know. And nowadays it has been used as a leading instrument where you kind of like do solos and many things, you know. And they have like different styles of playing, like many musicians in Pokhara or some, they have like different style of playing. And also in the eastern part of Nepal, there are lots of people who have like a different style of playing. And yeah, when I was very young, like I used to see my father playing all the time with he had like lots of different bands, and then he used to play in this band called Trikal, Sukarma, you know, and also was like traveling along with the instrument in many parts of the world. So whenever they were practicing, there used to be a sarangi just by the side, and I used to just go and pick it up, just, you know, noodle with something. I was like, I started really young when, like, I mean, he didn't force me to play anytime, but I was like so inspired by just looking at him, you know, how that music could change like the whole ambience there. So
it was
it also brought
hobby
him to
first.
different countries and different places. And one story that I know that his father had told me was that he was playing a concert in France, and so he asked, you know, everyone's like, you have to see the Louvre, the big museum there. And he said, I wonder if there's any Nepali music in here. Can we find out? And they went and they looked, and it was his grandfather. Had been recorded as a child, and he was in the Louvre Museum, which is pretty.
Yeah, I listened to that music, and it was so amazing. That's what I'm like. What Tara told before was like the connection of like the style of playing. You know, in like most of the part of the world, when you listen to fiddle and sarangi, it sounds so close. You know, you cannot like recognize it's from Nepal or like from the US. You know, it just gets connected to you. I mean, in different forms. So. Yeah, and I started like when I was 7, just playing, you know, a few songs and just imitating my father, you know, how he used to play.
And then it became your passion.
And yeah, it became part of my life.
And
actually.
your brother also is a musician?
Yes, my brother, he's a singer actually. He does play like a Nepali rhythm, like Madhul Dhime, but he's a very good singer. It's called Prizal Nepali. So he's done many commercial songs at the moment, and yeah.
My friend that I made the documentary, made a documentary called the Mountain Music Project, going back and forth between Virginia and our Pahar Gogit and mostly the Gandharva as focus. But he became a very gifted professional musician, and his father says the way that I got him to play music was I'd leave all the instruments out in the room, and I'd leave the house and I'd say, don't touch them. And he'd leave knowing that if you tell a kid not to touch the instruments,
that's true.
And they watch their parents having
so
fun
nice.
with it all the time. You know, that's, some people think, I'm going to make my children play, and they'll give them some classical lessons or something, and they have to sit and they have to play for a certain amount of time. It makes the kids often get a bad taste in their mouth from it. But if you just demonstrate how fun it is, it's like a game you get to play, but you have to know how to play the game. Then all the kids want to play the game. They want to be involved.
Right.
And then also he got the extra thing where his dad was like, all right, don't touch that. And then as soon as his dad would leave, he'd look in and be like,
this is very amusing to me.
it.
Like, you all the way from Virginia, you as an undergraduate student, you were here in the 90s in Nepal.
Yes.
So how did that happen, and how did you meet his father?
Well, I have to say in the 90s, I did not get connected with the Gandharva community yet. I got connected with the Newari community. So I was here as a University of Wisconsin student, and I traveled with an environmental NGO called ECA around Nepal, which was very interesting. I studied tabla with Homnath Upadhyay, who I ended up meeting his son at a gig after we played together in America. And I also studied with Shambhuji Mishra. But I spent most of my studies in Bungamati studying wood carving. So I studied with Puniraj Tulador, which was quite an honor because he's a brilliant wood carver. And I lived with his family. And Shanta Tulador is now an amazingly good wood carver. And so is Purna Lakshmi, who's a female wood carver. And I believe one of the only full-time, like, really top-notch female wood carvers that I know of.
Bungamati is actually the capital of wood carving in Nepal, right? So you've not only experienced the music here, but also the other arts and architectures as well. So how were you interested in the
I mean, how could you not be interested in wood carving? Like, I came to Nepal, I didn't know much about it, and I saw it, and I was like, oh, I have to do this.
Yeah,
I mean, it just blew me away, you know,
right.
seeing them working. And I was like, wow. Can I learn that? And luckily, the University of Wisconsin at that time had a program here, which was very open-ended and pretty much let us study anything, as long as we wrote a 100-page paper at the end. And so I ended up writing my paper just about Bungamati and anything I could find about it, because I spent most of my time carving wood. And then at the end, I was like, oh, I have to write my paper. But
it sounds amazing, though.
It's an amazing opportunity, and I still am connected with them. And they're like family now, because I've known them since they were little kids, and now they have kids, and their kids
so
are
this early connection in your life with Nepal's art and culture is what inspired you to do music.
I actually decided to become a professional musician when I was at Kopan doing a meditation retreat, and I was not meditating very well. I was not.
Okay.
I was not having
that.
empty mind. Instead, I would sometimes giggle, and I was thinking about what I really wanted in my life, and I decided I wanted to be a musician. And I was studying tabla at the time, and the more I got good at tabla, the more I wanted to play melody and rhythm again from strings, because I was a guitar player growing up. And then I decided I love to travel, and I love to be able to walk up the mountains and fly different places. So I realized a mandolin can do everything a guitar can do, but it's more travel size. And so I was sitting there pretending to be meditating on emptiness at Kopan, and I was actually thinking, yep, I'm going to buy a mandolin as soon as I get home. That's what I'm going to do. So my experience with a silent meditation retreat at Kopan for 2 weeks was I became a professional mandolin player.
Wow.
I don't think that's what they hope for everyone in meditation, but that was my result.
So moving to Prince, so you come from a very musical family, a family with a rich musical legacy. So how do you experiment and relate between something like this instrument right here, mandolin, and with someone lively as Tara? Like, how do you connect and balance between tradition and experimenting?
A very good question, actually. So for an artist like coming from a very folk traditional playing background, so actually my family has been very inspiring in that part, where you basically kind of like experiment with so many things. And as I told, like my grandfather, he kind of like started with some back then, like sarangi strings used to be a gut string, like made from intestine, like sheep intestine strings, and slowly, like we nowadays, I think we like really use those strings, and then in few places we do, but and then it turned into a nylon string. People do play nylon string as well at the moment, and so we moved to a metal string, which is very easier to travel with and very reliable on terms of like doing big concerts, So as we have to like mostly travel, play with a different kind of music, I kind of like crafted my own style, where I kind of like want to jam with some other musicians, and I probably like got very inspired from my father, because he used to travel around and play with so many other musicians, So
all over
it
the
was
world,
all over the world. I mean, he was like, I got so inspired from him. So, and he used to sometimes jam with the mandolin, sometimes with the violin, and sometimes with some percussion. I saw so many musicians in my life where he kind of like connected to me, and then like.
And I think his family, all the members of his family have pioneered some of the new technology, and now it's taking off about, putting a pickup on an instrument, playing it with a standing up stand, playing with a strap, and the same thing with our traditional music in Appalachian bluegrass and old time music. There will be the purists who will say, if you tune your sarangi different ways, or use, how far can you take it with pedals where it's no longer a traditional instrument? There's no right or wrong answer.
We find so many common things, when you're hearing the fiddle tune, I find it's like, oh, I think I could play that in sarangi,
Right.
That could be so wonderful to play, and some melodies are very connecting, like that. So like few melodies that I was learning from it, like. Doesn't sound like Nepali song?
It sounds American folk music, right?
Okay, we can do like this is an American song, so you kind of feel like it's a Nepali song as well.
Right.
You have like very common thing that you can like hear, from the sounds of like. So I probably find it like you have like so many wonderful melodies that you can hear like and connect together, you
You
know.
both are musical educators as well.
Yes, I
So
do.
how are you trying to preserve these traditional musical instruments and folk music altogether?
Well, I just love to teach. I love to inspire. So I will, often people will come to me and they may even say, I want to learn rock and roll, I want to learn. And I'll say, great, we'll get to that. But first, let's try some Irish tunes and some bluegrass tunes and maybe a Nepali tune. And so I introduced them to a buffet table, is what I think of it as, of like, you know, when you go to a buffet and it has different kinds of foods. And I say,
Variations, yeah.
why don't we play some gypsy jazz and we'll play some bluegrass and some old time and some Irish and some Nepali. And then you can taste the flavors. And 90% of the time, they taste some of these traditional flavors and they love it.
Yes.
And they want to play more. And I don't know
true.
about you, how would you go approach?
So I think first of all by playing mostly inspiring people. So that's how I go first. Like first of all, I think I have to be like inspired just to play this instrument first of all, and then I can inspire other people as well.
It's not always the easiest way to make a living, music,
Yeah.
but
And
it's
I
very fun.
feel like everyone should
Try it.
try it.
Yeah.
Like just one musical instrument or go for singing.
I think of course, I mean, if you are in Nepal and then also like any part of the world actually, you have like, I'm talking about Nepal, but you have like so many different instruments in Nepal that you can learn, and you can just like sarangi is one of them, and you have tungna, you have arbazo, you have madal, you have basuri, so many different instruments. And I think one of them should just give it a try, or just, you know, just as a hobby. I mean, it is like fantastic when you're playing music and trying to like play with other people as well, you know.
What would you like to tell the world about folk instruments and folk music? Do you want to share something to the world, and do you have a message to them?
Yeah. Play music
Play
and
music.
follow us.
Yeah,
Buy
follow
our
us.
CDs and
Yes,
listen
of
to us on
course.
Spotify, of course,
Yeah.
and you know all of those things.
You have to say something?
iTunes,
Yeah,
whatever.
actually, yeah, same as Tara. You just listen. I mean, have fun. Just pick up an instrument, play. You know, just get one instrument, and then I think more of it is like we're trying to do some like part of having fun is one thing, but we also kind of like inspire people like just to pick up an instrument. You know, just to have fun with it actually. So yeah,
And even just follow your passions, even if it's not music. Perhaps your passion is drawing, painting,
yes,
wood carving,
Any kind of
pottery,
just,
but
just things
but
that make
create something. Do something that brings you joy.
joy. Yeah, that's true.
Do
That's
something
true.
that brings you inspiration.
Yeah.
Okay, that is all for today, folks. Thank you for sharing your story and your sound with us, Prince and Tara. So it's amazing to see how music can connect worlds, from the Appalachian Trails to the Himalayan hills. So thank you. See you next time.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Dai Lake in Karnali province is a geographically remote district, yet rich with untapped potential for tourism. Stepping into Dai Lake, celebrated as a treasure trove of Khas art, culture and heritage, brings a unique sense of joy. Journey begins amid its natural beauty, leading us toward Mahabur Rural Municipality. As we leave the mid-hill highway, the terrain becomes challenging, with hilly, muddy roads demanding patience and skill. Long lines of vehicles crawl carefully along the cliffs, reflecting both the difficulty of the route and the enduring devotion of Mahabud Dham. Many travelers choose to continue on foot, advancing step by step toward their destination. Passing through Channa, Dasarathi, Okharbans, Bhavsaini, Noli, and Unipata, pilgrims ascend the slopes toward Lisni before finally reaching Mahabupatan. Pilgrims from Dai Lake and nearby districts often arrive late at night, having begun their journey the previous day. The path to Mahabudham is thrilling, adventurous, and breathtaking, made even more dramatic by the steady rain, drifting fog, and steep inclines. Yet the journey itself feels uniquely rewarding. Mahabu Lake or Mahabu Dham, located within Mahabu Rural Municipality, is a remarkable place of natural beauty, religious significance, and cultural heritage. Situated at an altitude of 4,200 meters, the area is adorned with emerald lakes, grazing flocks of sheep and goats, and a sky that dances with Himalayan mist. Every year, during Janai Purnima, a grand fair is held here, drawing thousands of devotees from across the region. Mahabudham's spiritual importance is deeply rooted in the ancient worship of Lord Shiva, revered here as the origin site. From Mahabu Lake, visitors can enjoy magnificent views of Api and Saipal Himal, and on clear days, even the plains of Bardya. Given its religious importance and natural splendor, Mahabudham holds immense potential as a religious tourism destination. Improving the rough, narrow access roads is essential for supporting this growth. Mahabudham is more than a pilgrimage site. It is a confluence of culture, history, faith, and nature. To truly appreciate its significance, one must visit Mahabu Lake at least once